Sorry for the delay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Sorry for the delay. I appreciate the people that come in here. Um, Come hang out. The numbers are going good. Everything's good. Try to talk about something that really hasn't been mentioned a lot on anywhere pertaining to the mob and things like that, where a lot of guys are in that they're in the mob, they're in the mix, and a lot of them know obviously that most of the time they're in danger. A lot of times they're in danger, they're in jeopardy and stuff like that, and bad things can happen. And it wears on their mind. Some don't care. They just go rock and roll, win or lose. They just blast out. What's up, Emmanuel and Mr. Anderson? So a lot of them don't care. They go a million miles an hour, and there was a guy, Johnny Rotten, just like Neil Young. Johnny Rotten Grandinetti. And Neil Young had that song, Rust Never Sleeps or something like that. And where he said, it's better to burn out than to fade away. Some of them don't want to go on the run. They don't want to cooperate. And they just accept whatever fate they have. Come what may. They just have that type of thing. So one of the guys up there at the club, I got to know him pretty good. And they call him Johnny Rotten. And he was athletic. He could have took athletic scholarships to Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. And he was pretty smart himself. And he knew at a point in time that for whatever reason, and I had talked to him personally and things like that, and he knew that his time would be up. But so it's hard to articulate, it's hard to communicate. He had opened up to me on some things, and he was like, I was telling him, well, if you're gonna go on your way out, let them find your body. So is there life insurance or something? It'll get something out of it. These people of course, they're thinking, what about their wife, their children, things like that. Well, you got a bullseye on your back. You're not going to cooperate. You're just going to, there's no negotiating with anybody, the government or them, or if there's any way you can get out of it. But they just know that there's no way out. And how does a person process that? Johnny Rotten, how does he process that? And it's well, just say, well, smash me out, leave me in the street or something, and get insurance or things like that. But he was this operation was going down, whether who knew it or not. They knew that satellite was going down. And I don't know what happened to all of them guys. I don't know what happened. I just can assume. I can assume things. But I got in trouble with this Johnny Rotten before, and my godfather and my cousin Victor, they had to stand, they had to back me up because I wasn't a made guy and you can't talk to them. So I had to, they had to cover me. They had to cover for me, you know? So he was asking me, well, is there anything you can say to your godfather? Because he probably, he's probably assuming that my godfather might be the one that's going to be doing the smashing for the Colombo family. I'm not privileged on that information, but and just generally speaking, and I was like, he's like, I'll pay you whatever. And it's like I can't just say, oh, you know, and this Johnny Rotten was the same one that tried to rob me for the bread and milk. And hey, and I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. But he had a lot of problems. He had a lot of problems. I mean, he was like, oh, he's got bullet scars, bullet wounds on him, and everything. And it's like he's preparing to figure out how he wants to meet his demise. And he's trying to figure out what the best way is. What's the best way, and if there's a way out of it. And the way that crew was going, I'm just guessing there was no way out of it except you know. But I had asked him. Now, I didn't know nothing about witness protection and stuff like that. I heard it on TV, something like that in the mix. And I says, well, what about that? He goes, well, you got to cooperate. You got to testify. You know, I was young and dumb. You know, you didn't hear anything like that. You heard the term, you heard the phrase witness protection program and things like that. But I said, what about that program? You know, he goes, well, Jojo, they give that to people that testify in court and rat, and then you go off and get a new identity and stuff. I was like, well, I don't know which way you're gonna go. And he's kind of like asking me, uh, talk to your godfather, see what he knows, talk to your cousin and all this. And I'm like, I have nothing to do with it. Um, you know, by the way, you're the one that tried to smash me out also. So you got to realize that my cousin Victor, we're blood. We have the same blood running through our veins. There's not like associates and other types of guys. That that's blood. But that's blood. We share the same blood. Whether I make mistakes here with these Colombos over here, whether I make mistakes and all this or that, that's blood. That's blood. And as far as he's concerned, you guys took advantage of me. You baited me into making mistakes. You baited me into doing all this stuff, causing a lot of stress for my cousin, of course, and my godfather. You you baited me into all this, and in the meantime, you tried to rob me twice. I don't have any say on what they're gonna do. Sam might be giving some orders. The old man might be giving some orders. I don't know what the hell's going on, who's doing what, or anything like this. But you're in a bad spot. I, I thought we were close friends, but there's no friends. There's no friends. You could care less how many times we went to the racetrack. You could care less how many times we ate. You could care how many times we laughed. You could care less. If I was making a run, I had a bullseye on my back, and you guys were all gunning after me. So that's life. If you want to go to somebody and say, okay, I want to go out like this, leave my body over here, so you could collect on some insurance money or something, go arrange it. I don't know. I'm not going to broker it. I'm not going to broker it. I don't know if my godfather's going to come up here and do whatever he's going to do. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. So this Johnny Rotten Grandinetti, just like anything else. What a waste. You know, I when things were boiling over there, when things were boiling over, and my godfather and Victor, now they were traditional, like Colombo. My godfather did a lot of work for the Colombos, but he was available to do work for any crime family, so to speak. And my cousin Victor was the shadow men part, the shadow, the people you don't see on YouTube and MobTube and all of that, all that stuff. Part of another hierarchy of crime families, good-looking business guys that are involved in a lot of other things, but if need be, they could come up with an army of people in a second. Not guys in not some guys in crews that are shoot themselves in the foot. No, they're on a whole higher, different level. And my cousin Victor was part of that, and we shared the same blood. So as far as my cousin's concerned, they're all wrong, no matter what. They tricked me. They gunned after me. They did a lot of different things, and then a guy comes to the realization he's not going to make it, and he's contemplating what his choices are, and he doesn't want to rat. He wants to go out like a true gangster. A true gangster. He's not going to go cooperate to get into the witness protection plan, and he's not going to run and hide. He's going to give up his life, and hopefully his wife and children will be set up. You don't hear about that kind of stuff on, how come Mike Francis don't talk about that? Hey, what's up, Francis and Mike? Yeah, it's yeah, and down the road, fast forward down the road, and I'm just out of it all, and you see some people here or there, and they're like, "Oh, what happened with so?" I don't know. I don't go up there anymore. Oh, well, does your cousin know? Does your godfather? I don't know. I don't know. After the fact, they all run around doing all the wrong moves as far as strategy. And then afterwards, what happened? I don't know. I don't know. Where is he? Who did this? What happened? Who did? Well, have some brains and strategy before you start. But another thing I wanted to integrate into this video is there was a level of degeneracy, which I hate to admit because I like the Italian culture. But in this subset of a culture, these guys were such degenerate gamblers. It's unbelievable. And that's why a lot of them got caught up in these predicaments. So degenerate that they're willing to go to prison or get smashed and leave their wife and children to fend for themselves. Terrible. Stunaz. That's stunat. It's stupid in Italian. It's stupid. Stupid. You know, they want, well, and this is the same guy, Johnny Rotten, Grandinetti, that actually opened up to me another time, and he was asking me, why do I behave like this? Why do I go cheat on my wife? And I was like, well, I don't want to talk about it. And he knows I was good in psychology, and he was telling me, yeah, you better give me an answer. I go, you'll get mad, you'll get mad. So I'm trying to give him these psychological theories and everything, and why he behaves the way he does. So we were close, we were kind of close. And he was the same guy that, was asking me about this kind of stuff. And, I was like, well, it's just the way it is, bro. You're crazy. You're cheating on your wife. You're a degenerate gambler. and you got to straighten out. And as far as psychology and therapy and to analyze you, well, number one, of course, you're a compulsive, addicted gambler. Number two, well, why do I do that, Joe? Well, I don't know. I think you cheat on your wife because you got low self esteem. I think you got low self esteem. You know good, blah, blah, blah. Well, you told me to analyze you. I don't know. Yeah. What's up, Benny Blanco from the Bronx? So, this environment of these guys that are running around at the club and all this type of stuff, no matter what is going on in your everyday, you could be laughing and having fun, but inside their mind, they're always thinking, when's my day coming? When's my day coming? They're bad actors and they know at any minute they could get smashed out. At any minute, they know they could get smashed out. So there's always this default thinking in their minds that at any day, I know I'm a bad actor. I know I'm causing trouble. I'm making the boss look bad. That when you start to get in trouble and you're a bad actor, what do the captains and bosses think? He's a liability. He's going to go to the government. So there's always this heightened default thinking that's going on while you're laughing and eating and gambling. There's always that default thinking in the back of their mind because they know that they've crossed the line and there's no way out, and some will refuse to rat. They will refuse to rat, and they will accept their fate of getting smashed out. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. And I was in the car and he was talking and Joe, well, I'm sorry. Yeah, I picked on you. Blah blah blah. And yeah, I tried to get you. I tried to rob you. Yeah, I'm sorry about all that, but I owe so much money and you look like an easy mark. Well, go tell them people in New York that, uh maybe we could figure something out and what about my wife? What about my children? And he was like, and now the guy's crying. The guy's crying. A psychopathic killer, and he's crying, and he is not going to cooperate. He's not going to cooperate, and probably not only this crime family wanted to smash him out. Who knows what other bad dealings he did with other families? So they know. They know. There's always that's why the old man Sam had told me, don't let anybody don't give any of these guys rides anymore. Don't give any of these guys anymore for any amount of money because the old man knew that this homeboy, Johnny Rotten, had a bullseye on his back. So when they come up to smash him out, don't get caught in the crossfire because they don't care when they start blasting. They don't care. They don't care. So a lot of these, yeah, you don't hear about that. Um, you know, Neil Young, Johnny Rotten, Grandinetti. It's better to burn out. So they just want to burn out. When their time comes, they take it like a man. They get smashed out. They take it like a man. They're not going to fade away and go testify in front of the government. They're not going to have their family visiting them in prison or all that. They're just going to get it over, boom, and hopefully the family, the wife and children will be set up with cash. Now, there's things that they did beforehand to set up for lump sums that are accessible for somebody that gets smashed out. Whether they do that personally or if there's a captain or somebody that has mercy on that widow and those children that don't have their father anymore. So those options obviously are in the air. So yeah, I never saw any of them guys cry ever, ever. And he was like, "Yeah, well, I was hard on you and everything." I says, "Well, I don't know what your options are. You know what your options are. My cousin and my godfather are they're they're on me. You guys got a bad reputation. You guys got a bad reputation. Until you found out who my godfather was, it's a small world. You were trying to rob me. You're trying to do this and that, trapping me into Cosa Nostra games, Omerta games. You're not a made member. You can't talk like this. And there's all these crises and everything. You guys were just setting me up. You're like a cat playing with a toy. Yeah, you can get away with it until you can't, and that's it. What's up? What's up, Jimmy Joe? Johnny D, how you feeling? Yeah. Paul Gassi, how you been, man? Paul Gassi. I'm supposed to be literate. So it's sad. You never see it on the movies or anything. It's sad when a guy knows that his time has come. And, you know, they don't want to fade away. They don't want to, well, just go up to the FBI and say, I've done these crimes. Just go to the FBI and then you could live in prison. You'll be alive in prison. Maybe you could survive there. No, they don't want to fade away. They want to burn out. Rust never sleeps. Neil Young. This is a story about Johnny Rotten Grandinetti. Great athlete, could have got scholarships at major universities. Very intelligent guy. And then went the wrong way. Went the wrong way. You can't just leave. Even if he is doing everything right and he's not in trouble, you just can't say, excuse me, Sam, I want to leave the mob. I don't feel like doing this anymore. I've had enough. I want to go into, I want to take up an accounting job over here. So, can you just relieve me of my duties here so I can just move on to another vocation? And, no, you can't just say, you know, well, Mike Francis did it. Well, he was you when you think about Mike Francis, God bless him, he's just like the government. He's like part of the government entity as far as that goes. He's one of them. He you view him as, of course, mafia type of guy, but he was just like an accountant. But you view him like that, he's not the real deal. He went away, he cooperated, so and ain't nobody looking. It's a million years later, but there's no way out. There's no way out. And it's heartbreaking that some of these guys know that their time has come and they take it brave. They take it brave. A lot of them guys ended up missing. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I can guess what happened. I can guess what I don't know. I don't know. But the Colombo family, this is just my perception, folks. This is just my perception. The Colombo crime family became so infested with rats and bad actors versus Genovese, Lucchese, Gambino's had them in there too. But the Colombos, it seems like they're the stepchild of the mafia, that they became so rat infested and so many people disappeared. So many people disappeared. And that just goes with the turf. That just goes along with the turf. And 60, 70% of them were degenerate gamblers. So it's a bad cocktail of variables that leads to a dead end road. And when they get to the dead end road, they're contemplating which way do they want to go. Do you want to go with the government? Do you want to go do this? Do you want to hide? Do you want to go on the run? Or you just want to take it like a man? Many did. They just took it. They accepted it. They're gonna get it over with, and that's that. Johnny Rotten. This is a story about Johnny Rotten. Remember Neil Young? Russ Never, with that album, Russ Never. Yeah, so God bless them, God rest them. And then you think, wow, if he met his demise and they got him, and then you think about all the fun times you had, and of course there was stress. I what the way they treated me, there shouldn't be a ounce of sympathy in me for them. I should have be more like a monster and just say, "Too bad, so sad. Too bad, so sad." But I would hang with them and talk about regular things in life, talk about anything, and you get close to them. So I would mistake it like, wow, we're long lost buddies. We're like friends from first grade and all that. And you could be so tight as friends, and then next thing you know, they're gunning after you. So you know, I could have sympathy for the good, friendly times, but I could just say, too bad, because you were bad actors and you were going after me a couple times. So it's you're stuck in between. You're stuck. You're stuck in between that kind of stuff. And if they say the Colombo crime family, and what the roster looks like today, whatever they have, whatever they might display on Google, wherever they get their information for with the Colombo crime family, and whether that's reliable information or not. I took a look at that that chart, and um, I took a look at the chart of whatever these today's members of the Colombo family and the names. There's not any names that I saw on the Colombo crime family of today. Well, there was out of 50, there was two, Russo and Michelli. And all so you go back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s. What happened to the children of the Colombo uh, mafia members? What happened to them sons? They just went off into did other things, or the government just doesn't know about them. And it's supposed to be a secret society, but I didn't see any name of names. Like, I'll just say last names, for instance. Everything here is just for entertainment purposes and educational purposes, okay? Just for the hell of it. Why weren't there names like Strollo, Gravanda, um, Swazi, Mancuso? Why weren't there like Marabella? Why weren't there other? None of these names. I could go on. None of these names are like for what they display. If you researched it, who are the members of today's Colombo family? Maybe these names I just said, alleged names, maybe they're just still secret. So they're supposed to be a secret society, but I don't think there's any mob family that's strong today, anyways. After all that bad run of the Colombos, the bad run that the Colombos, in case you haven't noticed, that's so dysfunctional. If you hadn't noticed a bad run, so I don't know what kind of strength they would have in anything in today's age. So whatever the government deems as today's Colombo family, I don't see any names that jive or are the same of yesterday's last names. No. Greg Peter, what's going on? Johnny D. Johnny D, what was the name of that song? Rust something that got that Johnny Rotten. So I didn't see any of those names. Out of all those names and all those sons that they had, the grandfathers, the fathers, the grandchildren, I didn't see any but two, Michelli and Russo, that the government puts on you could whatever you could search for as being today's Colombo family. You'd have to see some, all completely different names. Maybe those children went off to college and they were like, we're not going to do this. We're not going to carry it on. Russ never sleeps. All right. Russ never sleeps. So Johnny Rotten, Grandinetti, wanted to burn out, then fade away. God bless him and God rest him if that's what happened. That's what happened. But it was very interesting that I didn't see any of those, any names that matched up. None of them. None of them. Not a stray son, not a stray grandson, not a stray nephew carrying the same name. None. None. 2 for 45. 2 for 45. That's like 4%. That's 5%. 5% recognizable name from yesteryear. And I don't think they're crafty enough to keep things in a secret society. Of course, well, Joe, don't you understand? It's supposed to be a secret society last time we looked. Well, it didn't end up that way, in my opinion. You could make that argument, but 5% unrecognizable names. Did they get smashed out? Did they go to prison? I don't know. Russ never sleeps. Russ never sleeps. So yeah, he was crying in the car. I didn't even know what the hell the witness protection program was. You got to cooperate first, Jojo. You got to do this. You got to do that. Well, what are you going to do? He said, I ain't going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Do you have life insurance policy? How do they pay off a life insurance policy? Just go tell them, listen, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it, leave my body in the street so my family could collect life insurance on it. So your family will be taken care of. Yeah. So what's going on in here tonight? Greg Peter, where you been? Paul Gasse. Nice to hear from you guys. They turned my channel back on, and I'm not gonna swear. I'm gonna be a good boy, and I'm not swearing anymore. I'm not swearing anymore. That's all there is to it. I'm not gonna swear. See, Johnny Rotten thought that I can go to my cousin or my godfather and put a good word in for me, and I'll get everything straightened out. I just need to buy some time. I'm in a lot of trouble, and I can't broker shit like that. I can't do that. As far as I know, it might be my godfather that gets the damn contract. So, and he knew it. So crazy. Johnny Rotten F up. Johnny Rotten. I didn't see any of those names though. That completely is a mind freak on my mind. Whatever the information is generated, if you say, let me Google today's Colombo crime family, and wherever that the source generation of the names and pictures of those people that the public can Google is today's Colombo crime family. It has 4% of the names of when the crime family was up and rolling. None of the same names. For whatever reason, your guesses are just as good as mine. My guesses are, well, they're not there because after the fathers went to prison and after the fathers got smashed out, that the descendants of them, they didn't they didn't get made. They did not get made. And this is after post Rico. They saw their grandfathers go to prison for life because of Rico. They saw all that. They saw their Uncle Tony get smashed. They were like, let's just go to college. We hope our we hope our elders left us some money so we can go to college and not go into that because there's a big fracture. None of the names matched. Greg Peter, most guys are into legitimate business now. Right. Running unions, lawyers, doctors, etc. Where you from, Greg Peter, might I ask? Andrew Mush Russo. That that was still one of the oh, all right. Thank you, Greg. Mm. Johnny D, there were two names that matched. The Russo name and Michelli name that you could Google, like, and names that I knew. Big mob war between Rizzutos and Angels now. Wow. Yeah. I got up close and personal, and I know it's a rodeo, but I feel sorry where a guy was just willing to accept his demise. And it's like, what? There's no more options? You know, turn yourself in, admit to crimes, go to prison. Uh-oh, my connection is unstable. Here we go. My connection is unstable. What else is new? I'm surprised the screen don't go out. I couldn't even get in. My thing was, I couldn't even did it. Kept my thing was going crazy. Yeah. I mean, today, if there was, I might be right, I might be wrong, but I don't think there's any mafia crime family that is really doing anything so outstanding unless it's technical crimes like corporate crimes, land title crimes, or I don't know what the hustle would be. I don't know. Maybe I'm just out of the mix. I don't know what it would be. Gambling, yeah, I know some guys that still take action. Like there's a lot of gamblers, sports gamblers, that don't want to go to the casino and gamble. They don't want to go on DraftKings because when they win 15,000, they don't want to make a W-2 form out to the government. So they don't want the government to know when they make a big score. And then you got to get your ID out, like at the casinos or wherever you go. So there's a higher end of maybe bookies that will take big action and straight up, straight up pay. But the government wants to know everything you do. You know, the government doesn't care how much you blow. They only want their handout and want a third of it if you make a big score. Mm. I don't know, Jimmy Joe, where they shipped them off to. Mm-mm. No, I don't know where they shipped them off to, but yeah, I was just wondering, like, that there's a big fracture. There's just a big fracture from the 80s and 90s names, and then Google the Colombo family today. No, none of the same names. How could there? It's impossible for there not to be them names on there. Were they just successful at staying secret? What? They were ratting all over the place. I assume a lot of them went into witness protection and cooperated, a certain percentage, if you want to make a fair argument, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yeah. So that can account for some. Of course, a lot of them got smashed, a lot of them got hit, and all the male children said, we're not, I'm not joining. They just didn't join. So you could kind of make a case on both sides of it. If I had to get off an island and they says you got to give us the correct answer, uh you got to give us a good answer. Well, I would say most of them got smashed out. That's all. I'd say they got smashed. And yeah, Rico ended it all. Greg Peter knows, and everybody knows. The Rico just ended it all. That Rico turned the most honorable, loyal people into just straight up rats. The loyalty to the mob in the 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 60s, pre Rico, loyal people. But if you were in a conspiracy or a racket before Rico came out, well, they would go do their 5 years. They could do their 7 years. They could do time like that in their sleeps, in their sleep. But Rico came along, and if you were just talking and having a coffee with somebody, well, that's a conspiracy charge. Then they could connect two other federal crimes to it, and all of a sudden you're looking at 25 years. And then when you're in the holding center and you're contemplating all this, who comes to visit you? The FBI. Hey, listen, you're looking at this and that. Well, so it all changed. You know, I said before, people like Dom Cicali, for as many reasons, for as many people that are, for as many people that rat it, there is just as many reasons they rat it. And I've said a lot of things about rats, but the position Dom Cicali was in, he's got a YouTube channel, Dom Cicali. I talked a lot of smack here or there, but at the end of the day, I'm smart enough to know that he's a dangerous dude. He's a dangerous dude, and he got the raw end of that deal, as far as I'm concerned. So, well, it don't matter. You're not supposed to rap. Well, when you look at these people that you did work for, you were so loyal, and then they're over there talking smack. Anything goes at that point in time. And Dom, quit calling yourself a rat on your programs, on your videos. Quit calling yourself a rat. This guy was one of the little. They try to make that guy out to look like a punk or a weasel. He is a dangerous, very dangerous person. Very dangerous. And they go on his comments. They rib on him. They talk smack. And he answers them, and they're berating him. He would chew them guys up. They're calling him every kind of rat, and he's like, well, I know I'm a rat. I know I'm no good. I cooperate. What? He was trying to be as loyal as he possibly could, and they gave him a raw deal. He went to prison his first bit as a teenager. Dom is a good dude. Costa Nostra isn't what it is. Yeah, Greg Peter. Yeah. And if I'm just looking as just an abstract gangster, that in Dom Cicali's mind, now forgive me, Dom, he don't watch this anyways, but I know in his mind there's a switch. In a guy like that's mind, there's a switch. And when you flick that switch, it's gonna be over for the other guy. And they act like when Vinny B gets out of prison and they're gonna come after Dom, they're gonna come after Dom, and there's other five other guys, they're gonna come after Dom. Dom ain't running and hiding from nobody. He pretty near tells you where he lives. He pretty near tells his viewers where he lives. He ain't running from anybody. He's not running from anybody at all. Uh-uh. And then he's talking to Joey Merlino and Snuff or whatever. They're down there. You can't watch a video unless you pay Patreon. And Joey Merlino and his sidekick, they tanked that channel. They tanked it. Now, I think Joey Merlino's an all right guy, but however, they're doing this MobTube YouTube is they don't have good advisors. They don't have good strategists unless they got some big wealthy guy behind them that's just funneling them money. And but 10 minutes of commercials. They're in the car, they're in the parking lot selling cars, and then he'll tell a quarter of a story, and then, well, you want to hear the rest of it, go to Patreon and do all this and that. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. So Dom Chicali is not afraid of them guys. No, he ain't afraid of anybody. So people think that when you go like, "Oh, that guy's a rat," that doesn't mean he's weak and he's not capable of doing work. These MobTube viewers, they just associate, "Oh, he's a rat. Yeah, did you hear? Oh, Dom Chica, he's a rat." So what do you associate that with? What do you correlate that with? That he's soft? Like he's soft or something? So that just strips away all the work he did for these crime families. No, that doesn't erase all the stuff he did. It doesn't erase it because you say, well, Dom Chicali was a rat. No, I perceive it as that Dom Chicali is a dangerous man. And don't push him and talk about Vinny when he gets out and all of that kind of stuff. They 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 railroaded him as far as I'm concerned. They railroaded him. So why the hell is he uh, catering to those people and calling himself a rat like that? I don't have to like Dom Chicali. I don't have to hate him, but just abstractly, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you doing that to yourself? Get up there and tell some stories. That's all. Folks, it's MobTube. It's Mob Talk. They want to hear stories. 99% of my videos are stories. I have a Cash App or a Snapchat or not a Snapchat, but a Super Chat. These guys just sell, 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 sell. I'm the brokest one out there, and I've given 99% stories. Dom gets a little carried away. He's got to start telling more stories. Mike Francis is a dinosaur. He'll be gone. Sammy the Bull Gravano is a dinosaur. He'll be gone. Who's going to keep MobTube going? Ta-da! That's all I've done is try to tell stories. I've been censored. I've been blocked and everything else. I'm not going to swear. I'm just going to do it the right way. Whatever happens, whatever happens. That's all. So tell stories, Dom. Tell stories. There's not a lot of mob channels left out there. Tell stories. He's got a good product with the vodka and stuff like that. And listen, Dom Chicali is a very, very capable financial investor in economics and finance and money. He's very, very, very educated in that. He made them people a ton of money. And they were giving him a raw deal. So I do not understand why he's continually calls himself a rat when they turned on him. And I believe he did his first prison bid as a teenager. As a teenager, fighting in those prisons, fighting as a teenager. They want to make him look like a punk. They want to look at Johnny D. Well, Mr. H. Hey, what's going on, Mr. H? Dom is a good dude. Greg Peter. Johnny D, the neighborhoods were a lot safer. Look at what the hell's going on now. Mr. H, are they protecting their families like Henry Hill claimed he was? Maybe, Mr. H. That's a good point. Dom has 50 pounds over Joey, heavyweight versus lightweight on the card. Joe, your channel blows the other channel. Well, thank you. Thank you, bro. I put the work in. Nikki has humility, which is admirable. What's up, Ronnie Pender? Everybody takes alliances, MobTube. Which channel do you want to gravitate to? Some people watch them all. Then they play the mob wars. Oh, Mike's no good. Sammy's no good. They all go back and forth. Why don't the people? My marketing strategy is that I like to be intimate with the people, and people want to hear mafia stories. It's very simple as far as marketing management and strategy is concerned. Very simple. You got to get your credit card out to hear a story from Joey Merlino. He'll give you a half a story, and then you got to go pay another 50 for part 2. What's going on with him? He ain't the guy. He ain't the man, unless he's just got people instructing him. But if he was high up in the mafia, he would know strategy. Well, don't he know that the strategy of his YouTube channel isn't working? But does he got a finance guy that just keeps giving him money left and right? Because if he's got a mobster gangster mind, he would know that his channel's going to bottom out. I would believe if he rised up in the hierarchy of the mafia that he could foresee these types of things. So they're selling everything under the sun. They don't even want to tell a story. Joey Merlino tells good stories. Tell them for free. Like me, I told 700 stories for free. I'm eating bologna sandwiches. He must have some millionaire. He must have some millionaire financing him or something. I don't know. But I got low numbers. But if I had a production crew and I had money behind me to do video, and I had a team or half a technical team, I'd blow these guys out of the water. I do this fly by the seat of my pants. Nothing. Like a natural. Dom Chicali would. I know there's no gangsters don't fist fight, I don't think, but Joey Merlino's small. Joey Merlino used to be a thoroughbred jockey. He's small in stature. Joey Merlino. Dom Chicali would bust him up. And I seen people on in his comments, Dom Chicali's comments saying, "Oh, Joey Merlino will do." Joey Merlino ain't gonna do nothing to him. Nothing. Nothing at all. Come on. Maybe they would just try to play the mob soap opera. Geez, why can't I get under somebody's feathers so they could say, Joey Merlino, so why can't I ruffle Joey Merlino's feathers so Joey Merlino could get on his show and say, that truth serum, I'm going to get him. Maybe I'd get 25,000 views overnight. Why can't I get into this mob soap opera? Well, I tell a lot of stories that occupies my content. Joey Merlino, I better watch what I say. Just, I could be down and dirty, but he's getting bad advice over there. He's getting very bad advice. As far as you being the way you run your channel, Joey Merlino, I'm shocked that you made it to a boss. I'm shocked because it doesn't match up. It doesn't match up. Half the time you're selling, 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 mm, selling. You're not telling any stories, but you're selling. The mafia thinks the common Joe, average Joe Blow is stupid. The thinking of the mafia and the gangsters are thinking the average person on the street is stupid. So they're gonna just give you whatever the content they got, and they got retards that pay for Patreon. They're smart enough to know, Joey Merlino's smart enough to know they got retards that pay for super chat, and they don't get any stories. They get a half a story, and he's very, very reserved when they're talking about something, and he's just thinking in his mind, I can't release too much information because I want to keep all the fish on the line, and we might turn this into a part 3 story. So, I don't want to give the people, the viewers, too much because they're all suckers. They're suckers, and they just want to see me. They just want to see an old mafia guy, so they're supposed to pay me. I don't have to tell them stories. I'm just guessing psychologically. I don't know what the hell goes on in this guy's mind, but he ain't using the old mafia strategy for that worn out channel that he's doing with that snuffle up, whatever the hell his name is. And Gene Barillo is right. Gene Barillo is right. Gene Barillo is right. At least Gene Barillo, like him or hate him, but he's right. He tells stories. He tells stories. He tells stories. He's some love, you either love him or you hate him. But as far as giving the people content, whether it's true or false, he brings it. He brings it. John A. Light. Thank you, John A. Light. Thank you, John A. Light, for giving me a shout out. Thank you, Mikey Scars. Thank you. And RJ, thank you for being cool with me. God bless you guys. Thank you. I'm just a small little guy here, but thank you for coming in good, acting in good faith with me. I'm I'm back. I'm gonna just try to rise up. I'm good. I'm not gonna swear or anything like that. You hear stories. Well, Mikey Scars was a rat and all this and that. He's another guy. He gets up there like, don't let it bother you, Mikey Scars. Don't let it bother you. You guys, these guys did years and years in prison. The mob was over. The mob was over. The mafia was crumbling to his feet. But yeah, so you got guys like that too, and they tell stories. And RJ's a good wingman. They tell stories. They get donations or however, whatever they do. But these other guys, they're scrubs. They're straight up scrubs. Unless he's such a degenerate gambler, Joey Merlino, unless he's such a degenerate gambler that they got to use Patreon just to try to get some gambling money. I don't know. I don't know. I would like to talk to Joey Merlino, not like as a YouTube guy. I would like to talk to him about the horse races and fixing horse races and things like that. Just off the cuff stuff. But I don't know if I'm insulting him or not. But I in the I mean in my everyday life I could care less about him. But just as far as the mafia soap opera is going on, uh, as far as popular channels, Mike Francis, that's all he does is sell. Well, he claims he made $500 million on the gas tax scheme. That's all they do is sell, sell, sell. I've done 50 times more stories, and I wrote a book that the link is in there. That I didn't have a Cash App until way, way, way into my channel. I didn't have super chat till way, way, way into my channel. I just did it because I enjoyed doing it. I like telling old stories, and I wasn't really thinking about making money and all that stuff. These greedy bastards, that's all they do is got their hand out. Sell, 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 sell. What the hell? Yeah. Well, folks, listen, I got another story about Johnny Rotten, but I'm not going to tell it. There's a part two story to Johnny Rotten, but I'm not going to tell it until I got $50 in cash apps over here. All right. How would you guys like that? You'd run. You'd say, screw you, Joe. Yeah, well, or I could do a members only channel. I could do. I got the capabilities of doing members only. So, well, some of you guys, the members only. Well, then I could tell stories to just members only, and leave all the other people out in the cold that come in here in good faith and talk to me. So just screw them, screw them. Well, listen, folks, I got another story. Go to my members only part, and I'll tell the story over there. Until I raise $100 in my members only, well, I'm not going to tell any stories. You'd say get lost, Joe. You'd say get lost. I got a couple people in good faith. They'll throw me a bone here or there. But all these big time gangsters out there, that's all they got is their handout left and right. Well, we must realize that they are hustlers. What a novel concept that is. They are hustlers. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I got to be a washed out captain or a washed out boss to qualify to tell the viewers to buy a story off of me. And I'll give you part one today for 50, and I'll give you part two tomorrow for another 50. You could be a hustler. You could be whatever you want, this and that, and you can justify it all. At the end of the day, they got no class. They got no class. Flip it, flop it, zig it, zag it. They're degenerates with no class. Gene Barillo is right. Gene Barillo is right. He's right. Joel Gold, what's going on? Mr. Molino done his time and didn't rat. I think he got to keep his money and stuff. He has some bucks somewhere. I don't know. If you want to elaborate on that, Mr. Gold, there's a lot of high-ranking people in the mafia that he could have ratted on that are very wealthy. So if I could answer my own question, on where's he getting all this money to gamble with and all this and that, well, maybe there's some wealthy old-time gangster out there that Joey didn't rat on, and maybe he'll give Joey anything he wants. I'm just guessing. Because you know how those feds must have been shaking down Joey. You know how they must have just kept trying to get him to turn. And them guys were still in the streets, and they were shaking in their boots. Well, they got Joey Merlino in custody. They're shaking in their boots, these wealthy guys, praying to God every night. Please, I hope Joey don't rat. I hope Joey don't rat. I hope Joey don't rat. Boy, and when this Joey gets out, we're going to hook him up whatever he needs. Maybe that's it. Well, start telling some stories on your show. Start telling some stories. Yeah, you look like an old-time gangster. You talk like an old-time gangster. You swear. Yeah, you're Hollywood 101 as far as a gangster looks and talks. Yeah. Well, tell some gangster stories for free. Aren't those old wise guys got your back because you didn't rat on them? They should there should be for life. They should have your best interest for life because he could have ratted on people and they would have got life. I'm just assuming. I don't know. Seneca Silver, Joel Gold. Seneca Silver. So yeah, he's all about making money, Greg. They're driving around in a Rolls Royce. Well, I see Snuffleupagus in the frickin' what's that kid's name? Snuffle, or is that just somebody making a joke about him? I don't even know. I see him in that car dealership parking lot all the time selling cars. They're driving around in a Rolls Royce. Hmm. My cousin Victor, he didn't rat. And he was also part of the shadow government, or not the shadow government, the shadow mafia. And sometimes the shadow mafia has a relationship with the government. And he took a charge where there were other mafioso corporate elite businessmen. And I did a video way back. Would you go to prison for say you knew you were going to get charged with something and go do 7 to 10 years? Would you take, just say, $700,000 to go do 7 years in prison? Would any? I mean, would you take $700,000 to go do 7 years? If you had a co-conspirator and you knew the indictments were coming, and then you just said no, he wasn't there, he didn't do it, and you know they didn't have enough information, and then you were going to just take it on the chin, would you do what? Everybody's got a price, or some people like, no, I just don't want to go to jail no matter what, or take $750,000, get a sentence of 7 years, 8 years, and do 60% of the time, and you could be out in 5, 6 years. So while you're in prison, and say you got 700,000, well, you're getting paid $120,000 a year for 6 years to take the rap. Greg Peter, I have an Uncle Victor and he went missing. Man, I'm sorry about that. I know that's not funny. Man. Oh, Victor. Yeah. Uh, Toronto, that Toronto was very big in organized crime. The Eastern Seaboard, they're big. You don't hear about it on stuff, but they're part of the international mafia, not the traditional 5 Colombo families that everybody on YouTube and planet Earth just thinks the mafia was just the 5 traditional Colombo families. There was other families from Sicily. There's other people, hardcore people, military people that were around. I call it the shadow mafia. And they could call up an army of trained soldiers that are qualified in combat. The black hand. You said the backhand? Greg Peter, you said the backhand? The black hand. Yep. Greg knows. The black hand. Black hand. They have an army. My godfather got so much work because half of these guys would shoot themselves in the foot, or they'd miss. They would miss. They didn't know how to surveil. They didn't know how to, surveil an ambush. If you're trained militant, that's easy. That's easy. they want to talk smack about Dom Chicali and this and that. Well, he doesn't have fear, and he's ready. He's ready. He's ready. They talk smack about that guy Vinny and all that, and they're trying to ruffle the guy's feathers. They're just trying to ruffle the guy's feather. The Black Hand, yep, Greg Peter. The Black Hand, wow. Mm-mm. And I understand that the mobster viewers, that all they've seen was Goodfellas and A Bronx Tale, and they've seen YouTube channels. And I understand that that's their only schema of knowledge in their minds where they perceive the mafia. But there's so many different aspects of what goes on, what other entities are out there that the regular viewer doesn't know. They haven't heard about it yet. They haven't heard about it yet. You can't Google that. You can't Google that. No, you can't Google it. You're not going to see them in FBI's lineup of the Gambino family. They're not in the FBI's lineup where they got all the pictures of the Lucchese family. Here's all the pictures of the members of the Gambino family. Here's all the pictures of the members of the Colombo family. Here's the roster of this family. Here's the roster of that family. No, these guys ain't on those rosters. They're not on those rosters. No, I call them shadow men. I call them shadow men, and I knew some of them. I met some of them at gatherings and occasions, and they were cool. Tommy Bahama, how you feeling? So, yeah, this was a story about Johnny Rotten. Johnny Rotten, painted black. What's up, mate? Johnny Rotten took it like a man. The tragic story. He took it like a man. When they come and get me, so be it. And that was that. You failed. So some people understood that they failed in an organization and they were supposed to do things a certain way, and it didn't happen. So you failed, and you know going in what the ramifications are. So they accept it. I don't know if I could do that. Me personally, I'd be like, I want my mommy. I want my mommy. Then people that just accept their fate. Yeah. You don't see that on MobTube. You don't see that. I don't know. But yeah, they have the traditional rosters, and then there's other entities that can run parallel with the Lucchese family. They have entities that can run parallel with the Colombo family. And forgive me, because those were my boys. The Colombo family was like the Bad News Bears. Forgive me, but they're the most, as far as I'm concerned, they're the most dysfunctional crime family ever, in my opinion. Forgive me. You know, and they were my friends. Well, as friendly as you can get, but they were dysfunctional. A great portion. Yeah. Constantino, how you been, man? But I saw a different aspect of some wise guys that had good lawyers, they had good accountants, they bought property, they had businesses, and there were some successful guys. I'd say 25%. The rest burned out. They either burned out or they faded away. Rust never sleeps. So I worked for a record service in Charlotte, whose grandfather, rather than like Joel Gold says, I worked in the record service in Charlotte, whose grandfather committed suicide rather than life in prison. Wow. I just always thought, uh, I would always say, if you're hanging around with somebody, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Uh, have a life insurance policy. But a lot of the guys ended up at the bottom of a lake. They ended up in a river. They ended up at the, you know. So I don't know. You have to have a body to collect life insurance, right? Hey, hey, my. It's all good until you get caught. Yeah. And old Johnny Rotten, Grandinetti, he was like, I'm gonna miss my people. I'm all this and that. I'm gonna miss my people, and sad, sad stuff. So, well, I appreciate everybody that came in here. Uh, I got to run. Thank you for your support. God bless you all that come in here. And I got more juice coming up. So I do really appreciate everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. And we'll just keep the channel going the best we can. So thank you, everybody. Hit the like button. You know the deal. You know the deal. All your support is greatly appreciated, of course. So thank you. God bless you. And go Buffalo Bills and go Donald Trump. Thank you, folks. Good night.